going on, everybody? Welcome back for another week of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, we're on the fifth and almost final episode of the series. This episode was titled Truth, and I cannot believe we only have one more episode after this. We could definitely see where it's going with this final episode, especially anybody who's been a longtime fan of the comics, but even if you haven't been, it's very clear where we're going. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. A very character-heavy episode, something we definitely needed after some great action episodes. This episode opens with an action sequence between John Walker, the new Captain America, or the U.S. agent, against Sam Wilson and Bucky. We got, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier fighting him. It kind of had this parallel feel and vibe to Captain America and Winter Soldier fighting against Iron Man in Captain America Civil War. But yeah, overall, outside of that action sequence at the beginning of the episode, this is a pretty character-centric episode. I'm just going to kind of, jump into spoilers, my general thoughts on the episode. And again, this won't be a full breakdown of each and every single thing that happened, but just a general kind of consensus on the things that kind of stood out to me. Right out of the gate, really enjoyed the tone and feel of this episode. It really is about Bucky and mainly Sam in this episode, really starting to, again, gain the truth, because that's the title of the episode, and kind of use that moving forward. We get to spend a lot more time with Isaiah Bradley's character, who was the Black Captain America back in the day in the comic books. But in this iteration of the character and the story, they definitely are leaning into a lot of real life things that have happened in the Black community, or with, just Blacks in general, when it comes to Black history, or any people who were kind of involved in the government who were of color. There's definitely a dark side to our government of that time. And of course, this has a super soldier serum and superpowers and all that jazz, but it definitely touches on things like that and gets in some really real situations. And I love that there is this kind of turmoil and question around the idea of a Black man taking on the mantle of Captain America, you know what I mean? And I really enjoy the way that they handle it in the episode. At the end of the day, it's really about both Bucky and Sam kind of having to come to terms with who they are, and mainly who they're going to be, and kind of eliminating the possibility of having somebody else tell you who you can and can't be, who you should and shouldn't be. At the end of the day, everybody has these different experiences, and it's all about how you kind of move forward and kind of work through it. That kind of really matters. You know what I mean? It's really about putting in the work to get to where you want to be. And so I really appreciated that about this episode, and the arc that our two titular characters will have to go through in this show. So I'm really enjoying that. One of the things I really latched onto in the first episode of this show was this relationship between Bucky and this older man, who we would later on find out Bucky was kind of responsible for the death of this man's son. And he's kind of created this friendship with this old man now, kind of out of guilt, you know what I mean? And they kind of hadn't touched on it at all. They moved past it after that first episode, which was a big bummer. I felt like that was going to be a bigger part of the show. So based on this episode, it seems like we're finally going to start getting that closure in the next episode. It seems like that's going to be Bucky's big arc, is coming back to this character. But I can't lie, I can't help but wish that they kind of had implemented this older gentleman and that narrative into the story a little bit more, specifically around Bucky. Because I think this show, though it is called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it feels like it's definitely far more of a Falcon show than it is a Winter Soldier show. I think that the show has done a good job of, balancing out the storytelling for both characters, but Falcon is definitely the centric character of the story. And I think that just kind of takes away from the ability for them to fully take on a lot more storytelling when it comes to Bucky. So I am looking forward to seeing next week and how that whole narrative with the older gentleman that he has that connection with, how that all plays out. I'm assuming he's going to tell him that he's responsible for the death of his son. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, this episode, as far as the John Walker Captain America element of it, you just have his character just infuriated with what's happening, and you feel for his character. Again, anybody who is upset with Wyatt Russell for this character is an idiot. He's doing a great job. Love the performances across the entire board for everybody in this show. But I enjoy the complexity of what's happening, right? Because it's not a black and white situation. You do have this individual who really wanted to do right by the title of Captain America, by the country, and just kind of wanting to be this hero character. And when his best friend is killed in the line of duty, he ends up taking it that next step further, killing people and, kind of tarnishing the name of Captain America, especially visually, for people. You know what I mean? He just kind of became a bit of a murderer in that moment, that it just completely takes away from the vision of hope and, heroism that you expect to see in Captain America. So seeing his character kind of battle that, going back to visit Lamar's family, Battlestar's family, yeah, you definitely feel for his character, but you can obviously see that he's kind of gone off the deep end, you know? So it's a character that you kind of don't like, but you can feel for, and yeah, I really enjoy the way that Wyatt Russell has been playing that throughout the course of the show. Zemo's not in this episode for very much time, but we do get to see him get arrested by the Wakandans, so I'm sure he will show up again maybe in a future Black Panther movie or series. I know there's going to be that Wakanda show that's going to be on Disney Plus, so maybe he'll show up there at some point. I love the fact that they're keeping Zemo around because he's an interesting character, and Daniel Bruhl, I believe is his name, who plays him, I think is doing a really, really great job, and this show kind of gave him a little bit more breathing room to play the character and have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, this episode was definitely a tee-up for both Falcon and the Winter Soldier for where they're going to be in the next episode, and kind of them just embracing their truth, who they should be, who they can be, and again, kind of eliminating that whole thought process of somebody else telling you who you can and couldn't be, or who you should and shouldn't be. So I really enjoy that about this episode. I am looking forward to seeing how the season wraps up. At the very end, we do see that Sam ends up opening up a box that was given to him earlier in the episode by Bucky, that was given to him by the Wakandans, and seems like it's going to be a new wingsuit, and I'm hoping it's the Captain America wingsuit that we see him take on in the comic books. Who knows, or it could just be another famous Falcon outfit. So I am looking forward very much to seeing what this next phase for Falcon is. I'm assuming, like most people, that he will just be taking on the mantle of Captain America, which he did do in the comic books. The Winter Soldier did that in the comics as well. Bucky Barnes did become Captain America at a different phase. So they can go either way with it, but it's definitely clear that the Falcon is going to be the one who will take on the mantle, and I am looking forward to seeing what suit is inside of that box in the next episode. I can't believe we're almost done with this. One other thing I also want to mention before I forget is we haven't seen too much of Sharon Carter in this show. We have really only had that one episode where she was really prevalent, the power broker, and it seems like she may be the power broker. I have seen people talk about that theory throughout different fan theories online or just in comment sections, and I have to agree, it seems very clear that she may be the power broker. So I am curious to see how she plays into the final episode, because when I look at the whole series, she's kind of a lesser part of the whole show. Zemo has had his time to shine and the time that he would really affect the story. You have Carly Morgenthau and the Flag Smashers and all of that. And we got to see that the Flag Smashers are working with the villain from Captain America the Winter Soldier, who was at the beginning of this season as well. I can't remember his name, is that MMA fighter, but George St. Pierre, I believe his name is. I could be wrong. But either way, yeah, really looking forward to seeing what the next episode has in store for us. I'm assuming there will be a lot more action, a lot more what you expect from Marvel, but I enjoy that they take time like this with these series to really have character study episodes that, has the action in there. But an episode like this can probably bore some. It's an hour long. I think it's the longest episode so far. And they just go straight for the character stuff. And they really do a great job of honing in on that. And I think that they did a good job of really teeing up the story for what's going to come in the final episode. So The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5, only one more after this. This episode was titled Truth. And I think it does a good job of having both Bucky and Sam kind of having to take on a new version of what the truth is, or maybe understand that the truth is really what's going to help push them forward. So I really enjoyed that title, really enjoyed the episode, looking forward to seeing where these characters go in the future, not only in this final episode coming up, but in just the future of the MCU, because I think this series has done a really good job of kind of setting them up to be big players for this next phase of the MCU. So yeah, guys, that's going to be my thoughts on this episode. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. So did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? What moments kind of stood out to you? What didn't stand out to you? What didn't you like? Are you looking forward to the next week's episode? And how have you felt about this series overall? Are you excited to see things like Bucky kind of having to deal with this older gentleman whose son he killed? Or what is it about this show that really has kind of gripped you while you're watching it? So definitely looking forward to hearing all of your guys' thoughts. Hit that like button, comment your thoughts, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.